Okay, so today I'm going to do a short drive from Lebanon. I tried to say New York, like last time I even said that. From Lebanon, New Hampshire to whatever this next town south of here is, I already forgot. So the thing is that we should almost play that game where we count the franchises, like which one do we see the most of? I see a ton of Dunkin' Donuts from the food side. I see a ton of like Dollar Tree, Dollar General. Even you'd say something like Walmart or Target, but it's not that there's that many, but there's going to be one in every kind of key location. So the thing is that this town was kind of nice, like not overly populated or crazy. That's almost what I would want to do, is like where you'd really want to live is like in the suburb of somewhere of a big city rather than in the big city, because then it just gets too expensive, right? Like you don't really want to live in New York City, even if you work there, whatever, you take public transport and stuff. But I don't really have a ton of energy to even really discuss too much here, but I'm still going to stream anyway. But it's only going to be like a half-hour drive, so the thing is that Connecticut River, so of course, like we're caught between so many states at a time sometimes. Like, we're gonna go, wait, what? I keep trying not to go to Vermont, but it takes me to Vermont. What? No. This is the second time that's happened. I wasn't trying to go to Vermont the one time, and then I had to cross through it. And then now, I didn't know I'd be going here, because where I'm going is not in Vermont. But it's like, whatever. So we have strictly enforced drinking. You can barely even see what that sign is supposed to mean. Whatever. But yeah, it's like it would be sandwiched between, Vermont and obviously the big attraction here would be Boston. If I go, it's actually not that far. I missed it. Fuck. Going to Boston, obviously. But yeah, like, what's the big attraction in New Hampshire? I didn't even know what the biggest city was. It's either Concord or one of these. Manchester is the biggest one here. I guess I underestimate New York a little bit. Not even New York City, but even like cities like Syracuse and Buffalo and Rochester and Albany, like they're all pretty big. I sometimes would make fun of them, like, oh yeah, who lives in this? But compared to some of these other states, like Vermont, any of those cities in Vermont is like bigger than their biggest city, right? Burlington. So it's kind of stupid. That's where we were, the one state capital without a McDonald's, Montpelier, in obviously Vermont. And the thing is that there's one right next to it, though, in the next town, Bar, which is only a couple of miles. So that's kind of a fake stat a little bit, but whatever, it's still true. Like the only U.S. capital without a McDonald's in it, which for some reason is just a great piece of trivia. Yeah, what are some fun facts about New Hampshire, I guess? Like, the fact that I feel like thered be a lot more famous people, but I just don't know off the top of my head. And none of the names of the cities really stood out to me the way that I would have thought. Right, like Concord, I've maybe heard of. Manchester, but you think Manchester in the, Europe, not really. Obviously, this is New England, like a lot of the names are borrowed from that, but still, like I didn't really have a strong connection to any of these names or any of these cities. And then we end up in Lebanon, like, fuck. Are we like going really high uphill, or is there just, why does this road feel so bad? I can't even tell. Of course, this is Vermont, though. We go to Vermont for 2 minutes, and the roads have to be garbage. Like, let's just clown on Vermont. This is Bernie Sanders. He did this to you. This is what you get with socialism. Like, paying taxes for these roads. Like, fuck. But no, it's been quite the journey. I still have to go to a couple more places. Basically just to Maine is where I have to go next. That was my main objective, but I may as well do some of the stuff along the way, obviously. But yeah, Vermont was a bit of a bore. I mean, hey Jake, how's it going? There just wasn't really much there, even though I am of the minimalist ideation where I almost would like that. Hey Betty, how are you? But yeah, in a weird way, I almost gained more appreciation for New York, is where I live. I'm in like right the border of Vermont and New Hampshire, so I'm going a little bit south to, I don't actually know the name of the town, to be honest with you. Whatever town is south of Lebanon, New Hampshire. So the thing is that, yeah, like I gained almost some appreciation for New York in seeing some of these other states, that as much as I make fun of it sometimes, some of these other states do come off as a little pathetic. Like, Vermont was really something else. I was kind of shocked. I didn't know it was like that. I knew, okay, it's known for the mountains and the skiing and stuff. I get it, but I don't know. I mean, this is it right now. I'm saying like I'm not there, but we're crossing through it a little bit right now. It's just really nothing there. It's maybe like the northern equivalent of Florida, but not even as impressive as Florida, because like a lot of old people live there, retired people. I get that, but you know, like as far as any reason to live there otherwise, I don't know really. Unless you're, you know, farmland and stuff, I get that. It's the kind of place that like, oh, you need it, kind of the same way I say like with upstate New York. Like, oh, that's where you get all your food from, all the farmers, and you should support that and appreciate that. But on the flip side, that's what it leads to, is like, right, a lot of empty space, empty land, a lot of dairy farms, a lot of distilleries. They have like the most number of distilleries. Or here's one fun fact about New Hampshire that I just learned today, even though I was here yesterday too, and I just guess I wasn't paying attention, is they don't have sales tax, which I don't know if they get you back some other way in high taxes in other areas, but they don't actually have sales tax in New Hampshire. That's pretty cool. Yeah, what else have I learned about here so far? Nothing much, really. This is like the globalist nomad. I'll write like a book, like trying to be a nomad in the globalist modern society, because everywhere you go, it's the same thing. Like, oh, this state versus this state, this city versus this city. Oh, there's always a Walmart. There's always a, you know, they're always the same franchises, the same corporations over and over. It's like, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really feel different, right, where you are, because it's all been globalized and you're already kind of, I don't know how to explain. You're just in the same mindset no matter what. So does it really matter where you are? Oh yeah, I'm in a new city that I've never been to before. Oh, what are you gonna eat? Oh, the same thing I eat anywhere else, like KFC or something. Part of that's my fault, maybe. But when you're in a hurry and you're used to it and you're familiar and you want something cheap and quick, right? This is how you create your own oppressors that rule the world in the corporate globalist state, because that's what they do. It's not by force in the modern day, like it would have been throughout history, the people who rule you, but it's by convenience, by monopoly. Like, well, it's easier just to go along with it, right? Then it would be, okay, I'll support some mom and pop local diner, but then they'll take forever, and that might cost too much, and it might not be that good, right? So like, you have to take all those chances. So it's like, oh no, just go with this insidious Faustian temptation of this globalist corporate situation that you're in. Like, that is a definite concern. But yeah, that's always like a good philosophical thing though. If you're ever like burned out, or if you're ever like, you know, depressed or something, you have that as like a escape route, right? Like, go move and live somewhere else. And I know you might say, oh, that's easy. If you're like if you're homeless, just get a house. If you're depressed, just move. But it's actually not that hard to move in this sense. Like, you're living in New York City and the rent's crazy and you keep complaining about the living expenses, or like California, right? You could just move to a small town either in the same state or somewhere else, and it's like the living expenses would be substantially cheaper. Now, you might not have the same job, or you might not make as much, but right, how hard would it really be just to move to a small town if you're just renting and you don't own anything anyway, right? I'm just saying it's better than people sometimes putting up with the same thing over and over, like you're stressed, you're struggling, you're living paycheck to paycheck. What if the solution is, you could live in a small town and you'd be much happier, you might, have more money to spare. It just seems like you take certain things for granted as an advantage because there must be a reason why you're living there in the first place, right? You'll complain about the expenses, and no doubt they're high, but it's like either the lifestyle, you like all the, that there's so many things to do there, you maybe make more money from being there, from your job, even though that kind of is a trap, right? It evens out. You'll make more money in New York from the same job that you in New York City than you do somewhere else, but then the living expenses are way higher too. So is it really worth it, right? So yeah, I rated Vermont. I rated, like I was doing these, we're going to do a state tier list. Rate those two. I haven't really gotten much of a feel for New Hampshire yet. I have to kind of still explore one of the big cities before I'm done. But I was mostly just trying to pass through it. Like, we'll have to come back anyway, but... So the amount that we've edged the Vermont border has been absolutely disgusting. Like, I'm even disappointed. Like, we have to go back to Vermont again. Oh, no, I wasn't planning on doing that. Like, we're clowning on Vermont pretty hard just for existing. The only thing I want to go back there for ever in my life is to shoot my Until Dawn short film that I was joking about. Like, in the winter, we got to go up on a mountain and shoot that, and like cast people who look like the chicks for the people from Until Dawn, and like kind of reshoot it. That just seems like a perfect place for that kind of plot. Let's just enjoy the last of Vermont that we're going to see, unless we cross through here again, which I might not. I might try to find some other way. Maybe I'll go through Massachusetts down or something else, but I don't mind driving in big cities, but I hate parking in big cities. I can't. I'll just park somewhere farther away and walk or something. I don't like parallel parking and stuff like that. It's like I never have to do it normally, right? Where I live, it's not that bad, but... This session I didn't really have much to really talk about. It's too short for me to really get into any of my absolutist philosophy concepts, so let's just enjoy the drive, I guess. I didn't really have anywhere too far to drive today. I have to go back there again tomorrow, that's why I don't want to go too far. And then from there we'll go and move further in the state. Yeah, we're still in Vermont, I believe. Usually they'll give you a sign to say, welcome to New Hampshire, or welcome wherever you go. So, yeah, don't get me wrong, Vermont was scenic and it looked nice, but that's almost just an excuse for saying, well, there's nothing there. So we're going to say, it looks nice because it's just empty space. It's just, nature, land, whatever, but... You wouldn't say that with New York City. New York City looks nice. No, it looks like a, cesspool of garbage, but there's at least a lot of things there to do and whatnot. I don't even know when the last time I went there was. Like, I kind of don't like those really big cities. Like, what would I do? I would go there, and then I would just, like, park my car in a garage and just walk around the whole time. Like, I'm not going to drive there. Like, it's just not... It's a pain in the ass. You can't park anywhere. Like, I don't care. It's just not even worth it. Like, I almost was saying, I don't even want to bring my car, but then I kind of have to because I don't know, like, how am I going to get there then? Yeah, that's like an interesting social commentary on China, is like how people take public transport so much to get to the cities to work, but they live far out because it's so overpopulated that it's insane. But it kind of shows you that, I don't know, like, you could do the same thing here, like, live in a cheaper area, but then take public transport to the job and stuff. Famous person from New Hampshire. Let's take a look. New Hampshire has produced or been home to many famous figures ranging from actors Sarah Silverman. That's really the first one that you come up with though. Seth Meyers, Adam Sandler, who grew up in Manchester. Okay, I didn't know that. Astronaut Alan Shepard and author Dan Brown. Okay, that's not bad. I feel like there's somebody else really big that they forgot to mention. Right, with Maine, I already know. Oh, Stephen King, because this references in his movies or in the movies and his books and stuff to Maine a lot, I feel like. Yeah, driving through Vermont was pretty pleasant too. There wasn't a lot of traffic, so you gotta kind of make that decision in life of like, you want like the simpler lifestyle versus, you want the busy city. Like, they come with their pluses and minuses, but you have to decide for yourself. A lot of what people do is they just kind of go along with what they're doing just because they feel like they have to, and then they kind of trap themselves by like preserving the stimuli acme or some other possession thing, and then they feel like they're stuck there. But it's kind of a weird situation, right? Let's clown on the half-mass hedonist stimuli acme preservers in the sense that, people who have children, like, you're struggling to get by, and then you have kids, and it's like, now you're going to really struggle to get by and be stuck in that situation. But I wouldn't feel bad for that, because it's like, you didn't have to have kids, and somebody else is sacrificing having kids, or choosing not to. So it's treated as like this default thing. You use as gratification, almost like a privilege. It's pretty stupid. And of course, whenever I'm driving, then I get to use my cigarette lighter stuff to charge things. Otherwise, I can't. So like, you have to balance this and manage this just right, in order to keep my Starlink going, my batteries going, everything. I have to make sure I don't waste any time. Whenever I do drive, I have to charge stuff. Whenever I don't, then I really can't. Right? You got to pick and choose your times. Yeah, we can react to some stuff at some point. I don't know exactly what I wanted to do with that. Like, I want to send help was one thing. For some reason, it made me go to Vermont. I don't know why. But we were kind of edging the border anyway, so like, that's one point of praise of the U.S. is like, going in and out of states is very effortless, like, I am actually kind of surprised by that. The kind of world we live in where everything is so cynical and controlled that you think, there's going to be some toll between every state, there's going to be some border, whatever, some checkpoint or something, and one day there will be, but I mean, you can't do so many things these days without some sort of, you need a license, you need this, you need, I don't know, at some point, like, everything sort of looks the same to you. Maybe like, oh, I'm desensitized, or maybe it really is the same. Maybe it's really been made the same. It's always like this reactionary lens that people look at things through, like, oh, just accept the way things are, don't complain, or blah, blah, blah. But it's like more of a standard. What is it that you really want to value, or what is it that you really look for, or what is it that you really, I love these minimum things, like your car's breaking down. It's like, oh no, I'm like, how are you gonna tell me I can't go 40? Yeah, for once I genuinely don't even know where I'm going. Like, this is this is gonna be the next town under Lebanon. So yeah, one of the things that I was saying is the fact that you have to be self-aware and kind of define your measure, which means like most people just go through life in a reactionary way and they don't even really know what they think or what they want or what they value. They just kind of go along and try to overcompensate in a reactionary way. And it seems like, oh, that's how you have to do it. You socially contrive and you cope and you're too busy with school and work and stuff. But you never stop to say, well, instead of distracting myself with entertainment and escapism and conceding to a non-value subversive state, why not think instead? And in thinking, you might realize, or at least define for yourself, what it is you truly value. But most people don't even do that, so they don't even know what they value, or they don't have a standard. They just kind of react. Right, so that doesn't have much credibility and leads to all kind of conflict and inconsistency. And so, of course, we get to see how gas prices are. They're not too different here. Or like Vermont, New York, and New Hampshire, they're all kind of the same, like in the low to mid fours, 420 to 450, which seems high, but whatever. It's just seemed a little farther than I thought it was going to be. Oh, and I finally cleaned the inside of my window. I don't know if you can see that. They should be clearer for you and stuff. That's the one thing we didn't do, though. We edged Canada a little bit, but we didn't go in there, and I kind of don't want to. Like, what is the rule set on that? Like, you still need some sort of visa or something? Walk or drive into Canada without authorization. Entering Canada requires valid identification, passport, visa, mandatory inspection. U.S. citizens have easier entry. They still need paper documentation, may be turned away if they have criminal records such as DUIs. I thought there was something I read that, like, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can kind of just go temporarily without needing that. Even you can just go. Like, you can go for 90 days and just, you don't need even a visa or something. But realistically, you should probably have one, obviously. I just don't want to mess with that, because like, as much as I just travel and do my own thing, once you get into another country, it becomes an issue. Like, right, it's just not something I'm ready for. You definitely notice the difference in the license plates, though. More like these green and whatever for, I think they're both green, aren't they? New Hampshire and Vermont. I'm just not really in the mood to even discuss anything too heavy right now, so. Yeah, like Boston is only like 2 hours from where it just looks more than that. Right, it's only like 2 hours from Lebanon, basically from the border of Vermont and New Hampshire to Boston is only 2 hours, which means the whole state of New Hampshire and the whole state of, well, I guess you're cutting kind of through both, but the whole state from one end to the other of either New Hampshire or whatever is only a 2 hour width, which in that case, like, that's only from like Syracuse to Rochester or Syracuse to Albany kind of thing is 2 hours. So like Syracuse to Buffalo is longer than the entire state of New Hampshire, apparently. Or like literally Buffalo to Albany is longer than like the whole Vermont plus New Hampshire plus, Maine width or something like that. So I guess I underestimate sometimes the size of that. That sign is pretty inaccurate. It says 1 mile, but it says like 1.2 on my GPS for the exit. You always got to be careful. Like, you'll be in some rural, unknown area, and Google Maps will tell you to go off a bridge that's not even there anymore. Like, you can't trust that too blindly when you're in unfamiliar territory. Much of New Hampshire so far. It's interesting to see like what different franchises there are, or what different things. So there's no sales tax. That's one interesting point. This is the closest I'll ever do to IRL streaming. I mean, I'm like walking around outside and stuff. I find that kind of annoying and stuff, but whatever. I could like sit in my car and look at like a scenic spot, but. Right, and talk, but I don't really want to. I still don't know actually what town this is that I'm going to. It look like it's the middle of the night and it's like, whatever, more deserted, but this is genuinely the kind of area that some of these places are just like that. There's a certain minimalistic comfort in that, as much as there's overpopulation and stuff. You get into like, okay, there's plenty of areas that are not like that. So you can choose that for yourself, or the stuff. Like, it makes you question, why do people live in certain areas? Why do people live where there's tornadoes? Why do people live where there's hurricanes? Why do people live, where there's snow and blizzards? Why do people live where there's so many people and stuff like that? And it's kind of, they don't really have a reason. They just kind of go along with where they already are and stuff. Like, they're just born there, so they just live there forever. There's no special meaning to it. You have like possessions or family or something tied to it. But a lot of that supposed need, like, you're struggling to make ends meet thing, is kind of stupid, because there's so many things you do that you don't need. Oh, here we go. There's New Hampshire, live free or die, which I've seen that. Not just on people's license plate, but I've seen it in some other way, but I can't remember exactly. Either somebody had a tattoo like that, or I've just seen that a lot since I've been here. Fairgrounds, St. Gaudens National Historic Site. Wait, isn't there another park named that somewhere else? Okay, we got about 10 minutes left here. The idea of doing this at night is stupid too, because you probably can't see very well. Well, it should be almost the same as what it would actually look like, but you got to think, like, what is each state known for, though? Like, the Vermont, it makes a lot of maple syrup. They make ice cream, Ben & Jerry's. They make a lot of distilleries, right? So those are kind of some of the things Vermont would be proud of. And the maple syrup thing makes sense in the proximity to Canada, obviously. Right, that it'd be kind of the same vibe. Maybe Canada hates Vermont then for that reason. That's why everybody will take everything personally and project it. It's like, if the absolutist walks through, it's like, oh, they must have issue with this or that or some other. No, it's like they would have issue no matter what, because they're holding accountable something to an inherent standard, right? It's not about the particular thing, but people lack the clarity to see that. I don't really need the high beam, but I just feel more comfortable, and it gives you a better view too. Right, just kind of makes it nicer. That's always like a fun scenario question. Like, imagine how dark it would be if there not only, forget about your lights on the car, I mean, if there were no street lights or anything. It's like, how did cavemen and people in that time, even minus fire, even in a cave or something, how did they feel safe or comfortable sleeping at night when it's that dark that you really can't see a damn thing? It's like, that would be scary, wouldn't it? Like, you're sleeping out in the open or in some meager shelter. Again, a cave would always be good, but, and you're kind of like, please pass carefully, it's the law. Like, you can't enforce that. Oh, you did, well, but that's how laws often work. Like, you didn't do anything wrong, you didn't actually hurt anybody, but you still just in principle have to do something a certain way. So yeah, some places look better at night. Like I was saying that with Albany, with the lights and the, city nightlife. But places like this are useless at night because there's nothing, you can't see anything. It'll be more nature and scenery, but you won't be able to appreciate it in the dark. Is it here or what? I'm confused. Where is it taking me? Why is it taking me like in some weird route like that? This is why Google Maps and shit is not always to be trusted. I don't get what it was doing there. I also don't get what town this is gonna be. How can it go from this to like a populated enough area that has a Walmart in that short a span of time? I don't get it. You gotta find like what's the shittiest town that has a Walmart that like barely, you know, the worst, lowest population town. And like the ones in Vermont are not even super Walmarts. They're just like regular old school, or they seem like much smaller and stuff. Or yeah, like when they, you know, if Walmart used to be 24 hours, that would have been like, you know. It wouldn't happen there. Like, how could they possibly afford to do 24 hours in a shitty, some of these small towns that barely warrant having one at all? Like, that whole culture of 24-hour-7 open things is gone, right? Nothing is open 24/7 anymore. Some gas stations are, but that whole culture is just gone. Which I guess is a bad thing because, you know, what if you're a nomad? Okay, you work all night and you want to, whatever, like you're up all night and you sleep all day. You don't have too many options then. Right. There are people who do that, so I don't know. Obviously, you have to be in a big city to really warrant that, but looks kind of nice. That was a big change too. Like the way that it went from totally rural to a city in like no time at all. That was an insanely kind of dense, and it must be really small. That means like it'll have some population density, but it'll be like tight, you know, narrow. Which I still didn't even catch. Like, what is this? Newport? No. I don't know exactly where I am right now. Washington Street. So we keep going here. Yeah, at a certain point everything starts to look familiar and just really kind of tired. It's the same franchises everywhere, no matter where you go, so does it really matter at a certain point where you actually are? Right, all areas almost defined by what they don't do rather than what they do. Like, oh, this one doesn't have this restriction, or this one doesn't do that, rather than what it actually does. So is this Walmart going to be the emptiest, shitty? I guarantee you it's not going to be a super Walmart. Like, maybe that's the same. No, maybe it will be. I don't know. The Vermont thing is just a bad taste in your mouth. Like, you see those. They just feel so underwhelming that I didn't know they even really existed like that anymore. Really, does this town really look big enough to even have a Walmart? But then says the guy who comes from central New York, where there's Central Square. Central Square, New York, has a Walmart, and I cannot believe it to this day, because there's none in that whole area, so it kind of like fills a certain void, you know. So it's not that the town of Central Square can really support the Walmart, right? Because it can't. But, you know, it's just that people from around and towns and stuff do that. Right, people come from the nearby towns because there aren't any otherwise anywhere else.